Alright guys, so today we are going to talk about the nextjs authentication, right? Authentication. So what is exactly authentication system in nextjs? Let's look at here. So authentication with nextauth, right? Nextauth. So nextauth is basically a library, built for nextjs, and that library has all the functionality, right, we use for our website for the user management. Okay, user management means, let's say somebody visit your website and they want to go log in, right, or register to your website, you know so when they can log in or they register, and when their account is approved in more advance, right, then they have access to certain module like dashboard or their learning dashboard, right, something like that. So that is all handled with nextauth, but here we will just look at the simple use case of nextauth. Basically, for now, right, we're going to use like Google provider. There are different providers for login. Okay, so some websites, when you go, right, you're going to see login with Google or login with maybe GitHub, like that. Login with Twitter, right? I think Twitter, there is a chat GPT or something. There are so many providers, right? We're going to look at that also. Okay, I mean, we're going to look at one for now, Google Gmail, right, with Google. Okay, so here are the steps we will in this course, right, we're going to take. Setting up the nextauth first, configuring the Google provider, authentication session, right, authentication session. So this is very important concept. Okay, what is authentication session? So that this is one thing we can understand, right, and how you're going to protect the route. And yeah, so tomorrow we're going to look at the database adapter and all that, right, configuring the credential provider. So these things we're going to look at tomorrow. So let's see how much we can go through today. Okay, to set up authentication we will use very popular library called nextauth, right. So let's go to the nextauth website now. Here, just open in the new page. So get started, right. One thing I will show you. Okay, let's go to the demo and let's look at here. See this website, right, you are not signed in, and there is different route here: home page, client. So if I click home page, I'm in the home page right now. Okay, if I go to the client, that is okay, right, that is still I can go to the client. If I want to go server, uh, server is still I can open, right. Now look at the protected route. Okay, so when I go here, right, it says access denied. You must be signed in to view this route, protected route. API, I mean, this is okay, right, working. Admin, so now when I click admin, right, so admin can go and log into the page, but now that, see, the admin means basically it will direct to the login page, right. And look at here, so many provider now. Sign in with Apple, sign in with Atlas, at Atlassian. I mean, there are so many things, right. Auth0, I mean, look at here, so many things. Okay, Discord, Dropbox, you can name any. Facebook, login with Facebook. So most of the time in what we see is login with Facebook or maybe Google, right. There is GitHub, sign in with Google also. So when you, let's say when you click this Google here, sign in with Google, it will send to the sign in page like this, correct. And just select your email, right, click here and see, now I'm logged in to this website. Sign in as Brahma 1980. So my credential, look at here, my credential, I mean my email address, right. So if I inspect the page now, right, because how, when I log in, okay, nextauth, what it does, right, it creates the authentication session now. Okay, authentication session. Okay, and that's how it knows, right, my information. So I will show you now what is that authentication session, right. So if we go to the application and in the cookies, right, in the cookies, look at here. So in the cookies you can see now, right? And see, if I browse here, I hope you guys can see now this key here. Look at this key, right? Random string. So this key is basically the authentication session. So now what you understand with authentication session, right? When user login, right, nextjs, basically the next auth, right, creates the session in the user or client computer, okay, some kind of session, right? So this is a key, just key, or you can call it passport. Remember the passport, you have somebody has a passport, right? Now digital passport, and they have some number there, and that number holds the information about that user. So this random key is basically the user information. Right now it's my information, and we're going to look at how this is the object, right? This is the object, okay? Also we call JSON web token. You heard the name JSON web token, right? JavaScript web token, okay? This is what JSON web token. This is the object, but right now it looks like just a key, right? I mean, we have to write some code to get the object, okay? We can, if you want to experiment, we will look at later. So let's step by step. When you log into the website, the next auth generates the key. We call it session, authentication session, right? And that session is, as long as the session is here, right, it will log me, I will be logged in, okay? Soon I log out, this will be gone, right? See, so there is no more session now, right? That's why the system directly send me to the login page. Okay, so that's what happened. It will just create a session, and that will be stored in the cookies, and that session has some information about that person who is logged in, or the client, and that is called JSON web token. So in more advanced, we store that web token in our database, because whoever logged in, right? Because sometimes the user who is logged in has some information in the database, like image or some file or something, or maybe post some kind of information they want to access. So how we know, right, this person is the right person to get that information? So when they log in, that token we verify, okay? When he log in, that token will be sent to the server, and basically just it will do the verification in the server, right? And it knows how to identify the right person, okay, to view the right data, right? Just to make a connection, okay? So this is what happened. So now let's create our own next auth login like this, okay? Let's do that. So you guys understand what is auth session, authentication session. It's just the key generated by the next auth when you log in, and that is stored in the cookies. That is also called like you can call it key, or maybe token, or maybe passport for the user, to validate, right, for login. So as long as there is token, you can log in, right? If there is no token, means you are logged out. So if you delete the token, that means you logged out, right? So that is what happened. Okay, so we understand that part. Let's go to the now. Okay, let's go step by step now, right? So I want to go back here and to our main page. I want to logged out now, right? Okay, so let's demo get started, right? Click on get started. Okay, so in get started, nextjs. So see, there are credential, database, email authentication, and all that, right? Fine. Let's click on nextjs and see how it works. So nextjs, I want to go to the documentation. Where is that? Okay, here, right? click get started. Fine. So the first thing is we have to install this package, right? So package, this is a library, you know, this is a piece of software, right, which is used for creating the login system, okay, the whole login system, right? So when you have any package, you know, you can install npm install, you know, nextauth, right? So when I say package, that is a piece of software. Maybe that is small, maybe that is large, right? So let's think package as a software or piece of functionality, right? Or maybe some components which can do some work, okay? Fine, so let's copy this and install that first. So in our project next fundamental right here, I will just install, okay, let's install that. Npm install next auth enter. Okay, so after installation, sorry guys, after installation now, right, we have to create API, because you know, remember there is sign in, sign out, there is so many routes, right? So that is done through the API, okay? So if you read this one, it says if you are using nextjs which is greater than 13.2, right, or above, basically above, right? So yes, we are using above 13.2 with the new app router. So yes, in our nextjs we have app router, correct? You can initialize the configuration using the route handler here. So let's go back here and look. Oh no, I don't want to go there. So it should be here, guide, right? Let's click on the guide. So in wrap, in the app router, what is saying, right? See, app API. So remember how we create API? Yes, you have to follow this path, okay? You have to create something like this. So we have API and authentication. You have to add this auth folder, and inside next next auth. So we know that, right? It will take all the path after auth, okay? Anything coming from the auth, right, it will take that, and then after you have a route file, okay? So let's do that. So first step was installing the next auth, and then, you know, basically creating the API now. So in our app we have API already here. So here I'm gonna add auth, okay? And in the auth we have another folder that will be 3 dot, and we call it next auth, correct? And inside here next auth, inside here we have auth, that is next auth. So inside here we have file, right? And that will be, always in the API you have route, okay? Always remember that, route dot typescript ts, right? So that is all, you know. So API auth next auth and route dot ts, we done. So now we just have to copy this code, guys, simple enough. So I will explain this, what is here, right? So first you import next auth from next auth. We installed that next auth already. This is a function, next auth is a function. You execute that function here, right? Just execute that function, and you know, and you pass the object. So inside this object you're gonna pass some provider, right? Like if you want to use Google or maybe GitHub or something, we have to pass here. So this function will return some, it's gonna handle some requests, right? Remember in API what you do, localhost 3000 API slash maybe user slash get, I mean users, right? So get all user, maybe you have post. So this handler will handle for the get and post same time. So how you gonna write, because if this is the same API route, can do both things, get also and post request also. So you export handle as get, comma, handle as post. So now if there is some kind of posting, this will also run, and if you are getting something, this handle will also run. This is same like a route. Okay, let's, and you're gonna see some path, right? Later you're gonna see some path. Okay, the path will be something like this. So let's say I want to sign in, right? So my sign in will be API / auth / sign in, like that. Okay, if you want to log out, API / auth / sign out. So these are the routes. Now this handler will generate this kind of route automatically. So there are different routes now which you're gonna get from here, right? So we will look at that later. Okay, this is automatically done by next auth. Fine. So after this, okay, next, right? Next, what is here? Let me check the documentation. So yeah, so we add this one, we have done that. Next we have to add the environment variable, right? Some of the environment variables. So you have to add this next auth URL. So just copy this, right? Localhost 3000, that is the root in our server, right? Root route. So env variable, where is the env now? Here, just add that. Okay, that is one. The next we have to add is secret key, right? So I have something here already, I will add that. Okay, so how you gonna get secret key? I mean, you can add some random string, it does not matter, right? Just type something random, but you can also generate in your computer. How? So this is the code, open SSL base 6432, right? So if you type open SSL dash base 64-32, right, and enter, it did not work. So I think why, let me go to the command and check, right? Open base, let me see. Open base, right? Open base, open SSL. Okay, sorry. Open SSL. People are making noise there. Okay. Open SSL. Did I copy correctly, guys? Just give me a second, okay? Sometimes people just disturb. So that is open SSL, right? And then dash base 64-32. Let me copy this from here. Base 64-32. I don't know why this did not work. Dash open SSL dash base 64-32. Okay, something is not correct, right? Let me check. Okay, open SSL dash base 64-32. So this base 64, I think some kind of processor, right? And that is what used for generating some key. Okay, so for Windows, maybe for Mac something different. So let's check here. And I use that one yesterday, right? also, if somebody computer, if it does not work, right, you have to basically install something, installer, right, for installer, or you have to install some software also. But let's not worry, right? Just for now, what I would request you guys to just copy and use this key, okay? Or maybe just type some random number string, capital, small letter, something like that, number, just type it there. But this should work. It's because I know I installed this software right in my computer, so it should work. Okay, let me try again. So download the OpenSSL binary, right? You have to download that. You need to download latest OpenSSL for Windows installer, install that one, and then only it will work. Okay, so I will not recommend to do for now. If someone want to try, you can do it. Okay, it does not matter. And after that only you will be able to generate that key. So it's just I cannot find, but anyway I will look for that one later. When you try, just put this one, okay, and that's really fine, including the equal sign, right? So let's copy that, and okay, so I added already this 2 key you add here, right? Because next auth is going to use to generate, remember it is generating that long token, right? So I think they are also using this key. Okay, so we can add that one. And now next step will be configure Google provider now, right? So next auth has concept of provider. It is a service which can be used to sign in the user. Example, we can use Google or GitHub or any other provider. First we need to do is configure the Google platform, right? So all of you have a Google account, correct? So how are we going to use that, right? How are we going to use that? So provider, now look at on the left side, right here on the left side, because we are going to use Google provider. And if I click here, you're gonna see all these different providers here. Out of this one, I'm gonna find the Google, and Google is somewhere here, right? Okay, that's the Google provider. So in the Google provider, it says configuration for the Google account. So console developer google.com right here. So you have to go and configure your console developer Google account. Okay, so if I open this link, so let's first you have to configure, right? Once if you are logged into your account here in the Google, right, you're going to see your icons and all that, right? So in the beginning, what you're going to see, right, I will show you the image, okay, because I created already, so I don't see that one. But normally what you're going to see, I will show you now. Let's go to the public, and there is some image, right? This page you're going to see here. Look at this page, right? So in the credential, see that configure consent is screen, see that? So you have to click that consent screen, right? Click that and click on external. Okay, that is one you have to do that one, and the next one is, once you click, you're going to see this screen, right? And you're going to click on the external link and then proceed from there. So I will show you now after that what happened. So let's go to the, okay, in your case, right, you don't have the project, because if you are logging first time here, right, in your console cloud, you must create the project. Okay, so either you can do it from here, like new project, if someone already have new project, or and give the project name, right? So in my case, I have my next app project already. So once you have once you have project, you click on the auth consent screen here. Look at here, auth consent screen, right? And it will open that consent screen. So I have already created, and I'm going to edit this now, right? And I will show you what happened. So this is the consent screen. What is that, right? See, when you try to log into your Gmail through using your Gmail, you know, it getting your like image and the name and all that, right? Email ID. So that information is provided from here. Okay, so you have to, you know, first give the name of your app. So I put my next app, right? And then email ID, done. And then after you move down straight to contact information, just put the contact information and save and continue, right? That's it. And after that, scope. So scope is basically the information, right, which when you log in through Google, you're going to see there, right? So add or remove scope. When you go to the add remove scope, right, you're going to see this. So just select first two. Okay, first two, and that is what I have right here. That is what you're going to see here. Okay, and after that, save and continue, done. You know, save and continue. Now is test user, because we select the external, right? That is only for testing purpose. So you have to add the user who can test this account, right? Or who can log in right now. Later, when our software is deployed, right, you have to verify that externally, right? That is, you have to do the verification, okay, for your application, and then in that case, that test will be gone. So here you can add maybe 100 account here, right? But for now, I just added one. See, confirm. See, I can add my account which I can use for login right now. So I will just put this is the account I'm going to use for login right now. Okay, .com, right? Yeah, so add, and it will be okay. What happened? Okay, something add user. Yeah, add the user. Why not? Okay, done. I think, right, and save and continue. Let's see. I don't have any user supporting application. So see, I think I missed the test, right? One user, zero test, one other, right? So one user is there. Let me see. Yeah, somehow I I deleted, right? I don't know. Okay, if needed later, I will check. Okay, but scope test user, right? Test user who can test. One user is already there, so I think that will be fine, right? So maybe I can add another one. Let me see if I can add. I don't know. My information is gone when I delete from there. So okay, now finally it added, right? And save and continue. And then after, you're gonna get the summary, right? Summary, just look at here and go back to the dashboard. So done, right? So that is all you need here in the auth credential. Then you go to the credential again, back to credential, right? And see, I already have credential here. Okay, so you can create credential. You have to click on create credential and select auth client ID, this one, auth client ID, right? So I will show you when you click this what can happen. Here I'll just edit this. So this is the auth client ID. You have to give the name of your app, my next app, and then you have to provide the link, right? Authorized JavaScript origin, so you have to just put your localhost 3000, and this one is callback, right? So this you're gonna get from the page here. Where is that? So I mean, you have you have already here, but also it's provided by Google, right? Sorry, this next auth. Look at this. Okay, so that is for development, but for production, it will be this link. Basically we change the domain, the domain will be changed, whatever our website domain, right? You change that. Develop for production. For development we just put this link, so that is you copy and put here, right? Okay, and that's it, and save and continue and done. So that is all you have to save, you have to do now, right? After this is done, let's say after this is done, right, we're gonna get see that client ID. So if you if I click here, right, let's see. Yeah, so after you save, you're gonna get this, okay, client ID and this client secret, right? Look at this. So that is what we need. So we have to save that in our computer, okay, in our env file also. So we will do now, right? Just give me a second. So the Google provider, how it's gonna work, right? You have to first copy this. So go to our API and just put this here, okay, and next we can add the provider in our next auth. So let's copy this. So this is the one providers one with the array, right? And we have right now only Google provider. If you want to add with the, let's say, with the GitHub and other providers, you just add similarly to Google. So there will be some process you have to check in this document, okay? But first let's understand our Google provider. So now let's put it here like that. So we need we need to put this client ID, right? Because we don't have in our env. So let's copy that and put it here. So we need to get the client ID now from the system. So the client ID will be this. Make sure you copy correctly, right, and put it here. And we're gonna get the, so let's remove the gap. And secret, right? So go back here, and the same name, okay, because that is what we're reading, right, from env file. So that's the secret key. Okay, and done now, right? So save this, and let's say it's complaining now, right? The client ID undefined, and this is the one also undefined, right? So most likely we have to add some validation for TypeScript. So let's see how we have done that. I don't know if I have added here or not. No, right, not added. Okay, so fine now, right? Type of string undefined is not let's see, not accessible to the string. So we know we have this already, right? So let's put this exclamation, okay? I believe if we just add this one, I don't know where we're gonna put, right? I think here, can we add, or maybe question mark, right? No, why it's complaining? Client ID string undefined is not accessible to the type string, right? Type undefined is not accessible to the string which is declared here. Okay, I think this will be fixed automatically. Let's leave it for now. So let me delete this. Also, let's run this npm run development. So let's create a login in our navbar. Okay, so let's go back and create a login, right? So and then try to log in, because after adding all this it should work. That is all, right? So let's do that one. Let's go back to our navbar. Navbar here, right? What I'm going to do is just add the one link here. Yeah, I'll just copy that. Let's call it login, right? But we have to provide now the path. So that will be API, right? API /auth /sign in, right? Sign in. Okay. So yeah, so let's go back now in our localhost. So if you click on the login, right, let's see what, because if everything is okay, it should take us to the login page. Okay, look at here now, right? So sign in with Google, correct? And I'm gonna click on this button, and I reach here now, right? And I will select my email ID, and it should, just send me back here, right, to the my home page. But I'm going to inspect now and see if there is something in the application now, right? So look at the cookies, this localhost 3000, and the session, next auth session, right? And look at this token now, auth session, okay, authentication session. So this authentication session is basically a JSON web token which is created by the next auth when the user login, right? And it is stored in a cookies. You can also store this in the local storage, you can send this to the database, right? All kind of things you can do. But for now, let's understand session, authentication session. Okay. So now, after getting here, right? We logged in already, but we don't see any information, correct? So how we can access the session now, right? That we are logged in, and you want to access the user information, how you can do that. So that is the next step. So let's look at that. So here now, right? First, I think I want to show you, right, that token, next auth, basically this token, right? This looks the funny string, but I'm saying this is the object with some name, some email, and all the information, right? So let's try to understand this, right, little bit. Maybe it will be a good idea, right, to understand this JSON web token. Okay, because normally if we understand authentication session, JSON web token, all that, right, and how it is created, at least we have now, every time you log in, you can imagine, right, what is happening there. So let's do that. So what is the code for that is, basically we can create, we're never going to do this, okay, in the real project, right? But I want to just show you what happens with that key, what is that key, right, how it looks like. So what I will do, right, I'm gonna, in the auth, I will just create maybe one. Okay, let's create a folder here, right? let's add this in the API. In the auth, I'm going to create one folder called token. Okay, token, right? And inside this token I'm going to add route, because I need to access now, right? So I need to create this API TypeScript. Okay, and I will just bring that code and put it here. So I'm not going to write all this for now, and I will explain it, right? So next auth dot JSON web token, right? From this, because we have installed the next auth, so you have access to this get token function, right? You can import that. And also in API, you know, next request and next response, all these things you can get, right? You can do that. So what gonna happen, right? This one is wrong, it will go here. So first we want to get that JSON web token, right? JSON web token. So you write a function get, because we want to get. Okay, so we know all this, right? Very easily. So you have to make async. Now get token, this, call this function and pass the request, this request. Okay, like request colon request, just pass it as object here. So once you pass that, it will grab that token from our cookies. Okay, and that is stored in the token variable, and just return next response dot JSON, just return that token, right? So now if I go online and say localhost 3000, right, slash API slash, and I will put what my route is API auth, right? Auth, again from auth I think there is a token, right? Token. If I do that, this get route should run, right? And we should get something. Okay, let's look at. So go back here and I will put here localhost 3000 API auth token, because I'm logged in already, right? And look at here what I get. So it's my name, my email ID, the picture, right? If I click this, you see that image, that is what I have in my Gmail, right? I mean, you can see here in my online also. So that is the avatar I have, and maybe this is the I believe that is created at maybe expiry is normally I believe 30 days. You can change that also, right? And JTI some kind of code here, and so I don't know what is that number, right? But you can display the name, maybe email, picture, you know, from that JSON web token. You have access to all that. So this is what is exactly, right? This token is exactly this one. So when they create your digital passport, right, or some kind of ID, digital ID, they will just store this kind of token, you know, in your ID, right, with your information, but it digitally added. Okay, the only certain machine with certain coding, right, can read what we have done here. Exact same thing happened, that same process. So I hope everyone understand now JSON web token, right? And this holds the information about the user, and this makes sure that user is logged in. As long as you have the presence of this token in your computer or client computer, that will authenticate you as a logged in user. So that's why server knows who you are, right? Because of this token. Okay, fine. So that was something I just want to show you now. So let's delete, we don't need that, right? I mean, I can leave it, no problem. So what is the next step now, right? Next step. Okay, so accessing the session now, right, on the client. So you understand session, that is the JSON web token. Okay, the session, what when you get in the login, right? Now you want to access the information from there and you want to display somewhere on the client. So remember, we have two things in our, we have the server and one we have the client, right? So let's say this nav bar, right? I mean, we can make this nav bar client. Right now it's still server, right? Server page, but I can make this client. Let me make this client, okay? So I will say, just make it client page, right? Use client. So this is now client, okay? Fine. That is a client page, right? So if we go back, it's still running perfectly. Yeah, that's the client page. So I want to display now, right? In the client side, maybe in my nav bar, I want to display my name or maybe email or my image, whatever, right? I can do that here. So that is called accessing the session, right? How you gonna do that? So there are steps we have to follow, right? So let's do that. To access the authentication session on the client, we need to go to the root layout and wrap out application inside the session provider component, right? So basically, look at here, right? What he's saying is, your, remember in React, just we learned about the what was that, the hook, to transfer the data, right? What was that session? Oh god, I forgot the name. Right? Just to transfer the data from one component, right, from the root to maybe all the child, right, directly. What was that hook? I just don't remember. But same concept is used here also, okay? Because once, let's see, context API. Remember the context hook? Context hook, yeah. So that is the same concept is here. So what we have to do, right? Basically, see, I will just write directly, right? You can import the session provider, right? You can just import the session provider, but it is recommended, okay, I will not go too long, right? What is saying is, it is recommended to put the session provider or separate in the separate file, okay, in the separate file, right? So in the app directory, what I'm going to do is I will create one file called provider, right? Dot ts, I think ts is okay, tsx, yeah, because we're going to add the component also. So we can call it provider or maybe session provider, whatever, right? So react arrow function create export. This is just a component, react component, correct? So now we have to import couple of things. Import this, right? Import session provider, import this here, okay, and then you have to pass that, right, as a children, okay? So let's see how we're going to do that. So auth provider, I mean, we can call it provider here. So let's change this, right? Auth, I just want to authentication provider, right? Maybe in the future you have many providers, okay? And here you have to pass the children, right? Why we are doing this? Because we're gonna wrap our layout, right? This layout inside the body here, all these things will be wrapped with that session provider or auth provider, right? So now in the auth provider, these all will become children. That is the node, right? Like the div or something like that. So you are passing something as a child node. Okay, so that's why we have to add here children, right? But this is a TypeScript error, so you have to fix that. So children will be node, right? So I think react node, okay? So we have to import that here. So this children is basically the react node. React node is the div, like some kind of HTML element, right? So now you just wrap it here, session 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 provider, like that, and then you call the children here, children. So in the layout, all these things will become children. Okay, Okay, so that, I think that is all right. Yeah, so now you're gonna import this, import here, right? Because why we have to keep this provider separate, right? Because this provider is using the hooks, React hook, context API hook, right? So if you are using any hooks, you cannot put in the server component, because this layout is server component. And because we have this metadata and all that, right, generated in the server only, that's why it's better to keep it outside and then just import now and use it, and that will work fine. Import a provider, so we call it auth provider, right? Auth provider from provider, like that. Now inside here just wrap it, auth provider. Okay, so that is all you have to do, right? Once we wrap now like this, what happened is we have access, now we have access to that session in all our page everywhere. So let's try now right here. So once to access the session to the navbar, for example, right, there is the function called use session. You have to import that. So let's do that, because now we're going to access that session in navbar. So let's call this here use session, and you have to execute that function, and that is done like this. So in the navbar we put here, okay, done now, right? So status now, so let's console log this status, right? Console.log status. So because this is the client, we're gonna see something in our client now, right? Something went wrong here, guys. Let's see. So the React context is unavailable in the server component. Where I add that? Oh, okay, I did not change, right? In the provider, remember, this is the client, because everything is server, so you must make it client. Use client. So now it will change, right? Yeah. Now use session is giving some React context is unavailable in server component. Why is that? So use session, we import, right? Go to the navbar, use session.
You have use client on top is spelled wrong.
Say again. Oh yeah,
Use client.
CLIENT, right? Sorry, thank you guys. Use client, CLIE, right? ENT client. Yeah, CLIENT client. Good. So now it should be okay now. See. So that is the, like, client component. Let's look at the console, right? See, there is a status now, right? It says authenticated. Right now status is authenticated, means I logged in already. I have logged in status. So there will be three things, right? Authenticated, and if I go logged out, so what I will do now, right? Let's, how I gonna log out? I have to delete. Okay, I have to go and delete here the, but it's okay, leave it, right? So what we're gonna do for now is login. I want to display this, right? Only let's say if status uh, is equal to unauthenticated, right? Like that. If that is true, then only I want to display, maybe I can put here, I think double and. If I put question mark, it's not gonna work, right? So if that is true, then I'm gonna put this one. So I think I just put and question this, right? If that is true, then only this display this. So I can copy this again, right? So if that is authenticated, then you want to display sign out button. Okay, SIZN, right? Sign out button. So let's give it here, sign out. Sign out. So let's see if I can see now, right? Something. So see that I don't have the right now login button anymore. I have sign out. So if I click sign out, see, it just send me here sign out, and I'm out, right? But did sign? Okay, I changed already. Fine. That's why it worked now, right? And now I have login button again. See that? See, now is unauthenticated. Get some message. Okay, fine. So now I go to login again. It will send me to the Google login. Click here, and I'm gonna get my email, and I can log in now, right? Login. So now you're gonna see sign out. Okay, I want to display some information now, right? So also I can do that. I can do that, right? So let's do this. Okay, so now, I mean, yeah, so these are the thing, status unauthenticated. You can display something like that. So I mean, I can display this also, right? So let's copy that. So sign out, right? And just below, or maybe just above the sign out, I want to display the user information. So div, I think session.user.name, right? Session, I have a session here, yeah. So I did something wrong with the code. Okay guys, just give me a second. If there is a user, right, then only display that, save this, yeah. So the name of the user, right? Let's see, div, if the status is authenticated, then I'm gonna get the user from session. This session will give me all that. Remember that session object, the the object I show you from the token. Yeah, there is a name also, the name property. So I should get that, right? I still have that page here. So look at this name, right? So session dot name, I can get this name, or maybe I can get email, right? Session dot email. So exactly that is what happening here. So user dot name, right? Or maybe session dot user dot email, or maybe image, whatever you can get. So now if we go back to our page, look at here, you can see my name here, admin, my name is here, right? And then button sign out. So that's how we access the information from the session. Okay, so we just learn it with the login, logout, and all that, right? And also get information from the session. So one more thing, how you gonna access the same session in the server now, right? In the server. Okay, server, how we gonna access now, right? So there is the to access something in the server, you have the function called get server session, right? From next auth. So yeah, so I think we have the server page, the home page, right? This page, and if I want to get my name to this page, home page, and this is a server page, so I have to do this here, right? I have to do this. Basically I have to get that, and after, I have to call from next auth, I have to call this get server session. Okay, that function I have to call, and I have to pass something also, right? Auth option. Auth option means like who is the provider and all that, right? I have to pass. But how I gonna get that? Look at this API auth next auth route, right? Inside there is a function or maybe name export, right, called auth option. So let's create this one, okay, first. So in the API auth and in the next auth route, we just gonna change this, okay? So let's do that little bit here. So we say export yeah, export, right? Let's call it const, and that was the name of option, okay, equal to what I want to get is all this object, okay. No, here, right, this whole object I want to get. Basically that will be the object you pass here, okay, and then that object, right, is inside this variable. Same thing, so you just call that variable here auth option. So now we just separate it, okay, we just separate it so we can use it in the server get server session also, right? Okay, so we can use that one in the server also. So now in the page here we're gonna call that this is just the exporter name. So we write here and we call it what was that? No, auth option, right? Auth option. So let's call that auth option and click on this and you will get that, and that's it. That is what we have to pass here now, right? So in the just create the session variable and you know we call that function and pass that auth option here. So basically what happened, right? Const session equal to, and we have to make this async, okay. Now we're dealing with the data, network data, right, from one place to another. We must make it asynchronous. So await session await, and here we call the get server session, and inside here we're gonna pass that auth option, okay. Yeah, so that is all now, right? And then we can display that you know, simply just put it like this. So right now it's just s1, right? So I will just put it below here. So if there is session, then session.user and name, right, like that. So s2, make it s2 here, okay. And now if we go to the page, you're gonna see my name here also. If I'm logged in, right? I'm logged in. Yeah, I'm logged in. So go to the click on logo. Yeah, so you see now, right, I'm home page. In about page you're not gonna see anything, but if I go to the home page, see my name here. So we access now the session in the server page also. Clear? So yeah, so that is how you do, right, how you're gonna access to the server and to the client page. Client means basically, yeah, so use client, you know, you're gonna do all that. So now, right, tomorrow we will look at the how to protect routes, and also we're gonna talk about the middleware and database adapter, configure credential provider, and you know, how to register user, right, also. So basically some kind of form, username, email, maybe sending you know. So we're going to talk about all that tomorrow, all these 4 field, I believe. Yeah, and the protecting route, you know. So if you have a dashboard, you want only logged in people to access, right? So how are we going to implement that? Basically there is a middleware, okay. The middleware, and middleware is a function, right, which runs first before anything happens, okay. This function will run first, right, and when this function runs, it will check, it will validate the match of file right here. So if something is in matcher, right, the user will be not able to go there in that route until unless they are logged in. So there is three character like star plus question mark, right? These are meaning. So we'll talk about that tomorrow. Okay, guys. So let's leave it here now. I will just add this video also online and just read. I mean, you guys are already reading all this, so that's okay. Okay, I will stop now. Let's go back.